Assalamu alaikum. Today we have Miss Mussarat. Thank you for taking time out for us, ma'am, today for this interview of the course Language Documentation. Miss Mussarat is assistant professor, PhD scholar, and the head of Writing Center. Shall we start, ma'am?
Sure, go ahead. Thank you very much for inviting me. خیلی خوشش میان که شما اینجا یاد بگیری از من.
Thank you. Okay, so please tell us about your early life and your association with Persian language.
Okay, so I'm sorry that I cannot speak the language anymore, not fluently. I can understand, but my father, we are from Muscat, so our lines go back to Iran. And my father used to be very, very particular about us speaking Persian when we were young. And he also got us enrolled in a school which was run by a Iranian lady, Laili Begum. So we lived in Karachi, and my father used to speak to us, and in Persian. He used to tell us Iqbal's Kalam in Persian, explain it to us. So, but in the beginning, when we were young, we were speaking Persian to some extent, but I think it was not very long term, or I should say it did not last too much, because we were surrounded with Urdu and most of the time English.
Right.
So that was the language we used to speak outside our home.
In schools and
Yes.
yeah.
So at home we were speaking
Persian.
Persian, English, Urdu, a
Urdu.
mixture of all
Yeah.
of this.
Right,
Yes.
right. Okay, so we have specific terms, and could you please tell us how you would address them in Persian? So, what would be mother in Persian?
Madar,
Right, father,
Pidar,
maternal grandfather, or
Baba-i
grandparents.
Buzurg, Baba-i Buzurg,
Right, and brother,
um, brother,
sister,
Khwahar,
uncle and aunt.
Ammu, Ammi,
Right.
Amujan. We say Amujan.
Right. Okay, so can you share a particularly meaningful or ancient oral tradition from your hometown that you believe should be preserved for future generations or should be passed on?
Okay, so when we were growing up, we used to celebrate Nowruz.
Right.
Nowruz, and that is the first day of spring, 21st of March.
Right.
I feel ke jab se, since the time that we are now influenced with colonization and with British way of dealing with things, to the extent that our calendar is also
Has changed.
yes, so that's the Julian calendar.
Yes.
So we don't refer to our Islamic calendar, but in the same way, we did not preserve the Persian calendar. So in the Persian calendar, Nowruz, the first day of spring, is celebrated. And I am from the Shia tradition, so we believe in the Shia tradition that Hazrat Ali was given that is the first day of his coming to the throne.
Right.
So that's why we celebrate Nowruz.
Okay.
So I think that, apart from the Shia tradition, Nowruz as the first day of spring should be celebrated.
Yes,
And what
definitely.
we do in to celebrate that is to have because you realize that in March most of the fruits are available, most of the flowers are available. So what we do is we have a 7-color dastarkhan.
Oh wow.
So we have 7 colors on that, and the dishes that we prepare for that day are also of 7 colors.
Right, right,
So
right.
it's a beautiful function. And then in the evening, what we do is, and that's again, so mixed, this is cultural and religious tradition mixed.
Mix.
So in the evening, nearing Maghrib, what we do is we have a bowl of arke gulab, and in that we put rose petals. So at the time we say that it was the time of Hazrat Ali coming to the throne. All the petals come to a standstill in that bowl.
Right. So it denotes that.
Yeah, so we all celebrate it, and we it's a lovely time of the year for us.
And peak spring in
Yes,
March.
peak
So
spring.
yeah, yeah.
Beginning of
Beautiful.
spring.
So, what are some of the challenges that you and your community face in preserving your culture and traditions?
So, as I said, that it's been, I think, fourth generation that we have come to Pakistan. So, my grandfathers, when they came to Pakistan, they were Sayyids, and they were driven out from Iran. Okay, so
Alright,
there were
alright.
four brothers. So we have our own Shajra.
They came here as refugees in
They
Pakistan.
came here because they were driven out of Iran, because they were killing the Sayyids at that time, and the
right.
Shias.
In Iran.
So they came to Pakistan.
Right, right.
So since then, so we settled in Pakistan. This is the fourth generation that we are here. But my father, grandfather, they tried to keep the language intact. They tried to keep the traditions and the culture intact. But I think that it's not really. It's sad that we were not able to preserve it. Um, and then my father was very, very. He was adamant that we sisters go to the Parsi school, because in the Parsi school in Karachi, Persian was spoken. So there was a lot of Parsi community that spoke Persian, and we used to practice that. So there we got the practice. But then, sadly, all over the last 30 years, all my friends who are Parsis have now left Pakistan. That's another very unfortunate situation.
Yes.
Where I think that we have lost our tolerance somehow towards
Yes.
other cultures
In communities.
and communities. So people like Agha Khanis, I also speak Gujarati and understand Gujarati, because I grew up in Gujarati families. They were my friends in school. So those Gujaratis were also Parsis. So Parsis who spoke Gujarati, so they came from Gujarat, India's Gujarat.
Right, right.
So they were also settled in Karachi, and there was a huge Parsi community there. So we used to be very, very close to the Parsi community, because number one, they spoke Persian. Number two, that they were my class fellows. Number three, that my father's, because my father was in Merchant Navy, and so the company that he worked for was owned by Parsis. So
Right.
Parsis were really very affluent, influential people at that time.
And
I'm
growing
talking
up,
about early 60s, and then early 70s. Till early 70s, this remained the way Pakistan or Karachi was known as a cosmopolitan
right, right.
city. But then, with all the riots taking place, and people considering Parsis and Khanis, they damning them for what they believed in, so people just flew. They weren't here. They left Pakistan.
Because the environment wasn't safe.
There
yes,
wasn't
that's
conducive.
another dilemma.
Yes.
This is why, I guess it couldn't be preserved
No.
over here in Pakistan.
No.
Right. Okay. So, how do you think your language could be preserved now?
Okay, so number one,
What do you
want to,
think?
Okay, I want to clarify, and clarify this, that for me, I won't call Persian as my native tongue. It was my father's native language, and before him, his father. And my father did all his best to that this language transferred on to us, and we spoke this language at home. But because he didn't have any brothers and sisters, They were all abroad, and he was the only one trying and struggling with this. My mother was his cousin in some way, but they weren't Persian speaking.
Right.
So we got lost. We lost touch with the language. So the question that you are saying is that I think Persian as a language is a beautiful language. Whether it's, and then, for 10 years, my husband worked in Iran National Shipping Lines. So I was traveling with him. So I did 8 ships with him. In those ships also, we had Persian women, Persian families. So I got to interact with them as well. But what their focus was, I wanted them to, speak to me in Persian, so my language revived. But they wanted me to teach them English because they thought that they wanted to learn English, and they were fascinated that I could speak English.
Yeah.
But I really, that wasn't my focus. So I ended up speaking in English with them and teaching them English rather than practicing my Persian with them. That's sad again.
Understandable. So, how do you feel as a speaker of this language in the multilingual community of FCCU?
So I don't, as I said earlier, I don't consider myself
But you
a
are a
Persian
multilingual.
speaker. Yeah, I am a multilingual in the sense that I can understand Gujarati, I can understand Sindhi, because I have been in Karachi and we were taught all these languages, right? Persian was spoken at home, so I am familiar with Persian. So the songs, Khanam Gadoosh, Gogosh used to sing, Dariush used to sing, we are very familiar with that. All our duas in our Shia tradition, they're all in Persian, mostly.
Right.
So our duas in Persian. I learned, so the way I recite the Quran is from the Persian Lahan, not the Arabic Lahan.
Right.
So that again credit goes to my dad. So, and he made us learn the Quran by heart when we were young. So he was very ambitious. Although हम भूल गए फिर उसके बाद, we couldn't really remember all the Quran. He was a scholar as well, my dad. So he wrote 3 books.
That's wonderful.
But you see, the thing is that I think besides me being, I am not a Persian speaker per se. I am not. My dad was. And he tried to transfer. But I can understand Persian. थोड़ी सी practice हो जाएगी तो I can speak it also. But I think that it is a beautiful language, and I think languages should be cherished. And I think
definitely.
it is so sad that languages. So Persian is not going to die out.
Definitely.
It is a language that is spoken in Iran. It is a language that's spoken in Afghanistan. It's though in a different accent, that's called Dari. It's a language that's spoken in Quetta and Balochistan. There are people who speak
and
Persian,
in Karachi, as you mentioned.
Yes, and even KP to some degree.
Right.
They do understand. They speak Pashto, and some of them do speak Persian as well.
Right.
So it is, and Urdu is an outcome or is a mixture of
Persian.
So most of the the accent is different. There are so many, like Zabardast. Dast is hand, right? Zabar is on top. So Zabardast is being on top, your hand being on top.
Oh, okay.
And then we say Rost Pigui. Rostgui. Rost is you're on the right track. Rostgui, you're speaking the truth.
Okay.
Right. So most of the Urdu words are, if it's just the way they are spoken.
They evolved from Persian.
They are Persian words.
Yeah. So, how, I mean, you've talked about it, but how Persian has shaped your identity and sense of self while growing up?
I think that's an interesting question, by the way. So, I think that Persian has a history to it.
Definitely.
Okay, And when you're listening to different stories, when you're exposed to different traditions of your language, and the cuisine. So in our home, we have Persian cuisine which we cook. Uh, we do it without even knowing that it's Persian.
Yes.
But sometimes, and then we have guests at home and they talk to us and we say Fasenjun or Osh or Oshe Rishte or Oshe Birinj. People, what's that? So, we then realize that this is something specific to the Persian culture.
Right.
So it's like our culture in our home has become quite eclectic. We have not preserved the Iranian culture as such. It's become a mixed culture with Karachi, Parsi, Gujarati, this, that, and the other. But I think that what that has done to me
And in
as
your
a human
household now,
being,
yeah.
yes, has given me a broader perspective. It
Yes.
has opened up my thinking, and I feel that I am more accepting and more tolerant towards other religions, other cultures, other people. So that is, I suppose, what it may have done. And that is,
Yes.
I think, I can credit my background, the way we were brought up.
Definitely. Okay, so could you share with us in your language how would you express or describe certain emotions or feelings, such as happiness, sadness, love,
So
excitement?
if I say love, like, Baba June, yeah, if I say Bach Bach, that is Mubarak.
Right,
Congratulations.
right, right.
Okay. If I say Kurban man, Kurban, so I am Kurban. Darood, Darood Bashuma. That, but Darood Bashuma is greetings to you, bless you.
Right, right,
Okay.
right, right.
So this way, and then it's more about sounds that we take out, like ichi, in hichi.
So it's expressed through
It's
sounds.
nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's nothing for me.
Right.
So if I speak or somebody speaks, then I can maybe express it better. But there are some things that are in Persian language you utter like with your not with words but with the sound.
Right,
Yes.
right, right. So, leading to this, what is your favorite phrase, word, or any quote in Persian, and why?
Okay, so you must have heard this too shall pass.
Yes, yes.
So in Persian, it came from Persian, not the
Alright.
other way around.
Oh,
So
alright.
inni is Musarat, which means that there's this legend or myth or a tradition that goes that a king wanted to be happy or to be sad and wanted to know or look at a phrase where he could look and see that this was a fleeting emotion, whether it was being sad or being happy.
Right.
So he asked his vizier to think of something and wanted that to be inscribed on his ring, so that whenever he saw it, if he was happy, he knew that this happiness was short lived, and if he was sad, then he would know that the sadness was short lived. So the vizier, after consulting with a lot of people, then he came up with this phrase, "Innis Bogzarad," which means that this too shall pass. So the king became happy because he saw that, and he thought that when he's happy, he will know that this happiness won't last much, and when he's sad, he will again.
No, that this is
Yeah,
temporary.
yes.
Yeah. Thank you for enlightening us with this information. Okay, so what was your favorite food growing up, and was it homemade? If so, please share the recipe if possible. And did you have like any other unique dishes? from your culture?
Okay, so as I said earlier, in our culture, we had Osh, we had Fasanjun, we had Chalu Kebab, Bodiyan Gosht, and Bomyan,
And
which
what
is
is that
Bomyan
exactly?
is brinjal, mangan, and
Right,
um, Bomyan and Bomyan is, I think, bindi,
right.
brinjal, Bomyan. And Badam June is brinjal.
Right.
Yeah. So here we make badiyan. It's very dry, but in Irani way, it is like a curry.
All right.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we have it with rice, and rice is called birinj.
All right.
Okay.
Right.
So um, it's shurbe, it's curry. Shurbe. Now you see shorba bole ya
Yeah, sure.
shurbe.
It's the
Okay.
same.
And then you have so as I was telling you earlier, Fasanjun is something that we used to have. It's a festive dish.
Right.
So when we were growing up on Eids, on different occasions, we would have Fasanjun, which is made out of pomegranate juice. So
Right.
that is cooked and made into a syrup. And then you have walnuts, which you crush, chicken cubes, you fry them in butter, and then you put a little bit of garlic and salt and black pepper in it, and then you put the walnuts in them and fry, and then you cook it in the pomegranate juice.
Right.
So
That's
it's
delicious.
a delicious
Yeah.
dish, and you eat it with rice.
Right. So do you still incorporate
Oh
that
yeah,
in
yeah,
like
yeah,
Eid
yes,
or
yes,
yeah,
yes. We do that.
that's wonderful. So do you have any idea about rare vocabulary, forgotten words and proverbs or ancient versions of the language version?
No, I'm sorry.
That's fine. And what is your favorite song, Ghazal, and what is it about? We could also play it over here as well.
Okay. So before that, I would like to. This is my father's favorite sher,
Right.
and I'm going to read it out to you, and then I'm
Please,
going to
please, please,
explain
please.
it
Yes.
to you. So this goes like Gile khushbu e gil, Gile khushbu e gil, dar hamam ruze. رسید دست محبوب بدستم بدو گفتم که مشک یا میره که از بوی دلاویزت تو مستم با گفتا من گله ناچیز بودم با گفتا من گله ناچیز بودم ولیکن از مدت با گل نشستم ولیکن از مدت با گل نشستم جمال همنشین در من اثر کرد وگرنه من هما خاکم که هستم. So this means that there is this hammam. You know what is hammam?
Yes.
So in those days, people had these hammams. They would go to hammams. They didn't have bathrooms in their homes. Okay, so the after a long time, there was dust or sand that deposited or collected at the bottom of the hammam. So this is that somebody asked the gill. Gill is matti.
Right.
The matti that had settled in the hammam. Somebody asked that matti that that why are you smelling so beautiful? Why is your smell so beautiful? Are you mushk or are you ambir? So mushk is the from the deer,
Yes.
okay, and ambir is also a fragrance, a very beautiful fragrance. So he says that I got that gill, that matti from my mehboob, and I asked that gill, that matti, that why do you smell so beautiful? So the gill responded and said that I am just matti. I am nothing. But because I was in the roots of the rose bush, so the smell of the rose bush settled in me. That's why
Right, right,
I
right.
am so smell, or I my fragrance is so beautiful. So which means that if you enjoy the company of people who are learned or who have something to offer, then that beauty or that
Instills in you, yeah.
fragrance
It's passed on.
it
Yeah.
is passed on to you. So I love this one, and this is my father's favorite.
This is very
Shade.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
So we had a song as well,
Yeah.
and we were
So I
playing
wanted,
it.
this is my favorite singer, Daryush.
Right.
And this song, I'll explain to you the meaning before, and then you
Okay.
can play it.
All right, all right.
So the song goes as Salam Bapiri. It is in the remembrance of young age.
Right.
Salam Bapiri meaning you pay homage, tribute to Buzurgi,
Old age.
old age. So the old age is saying that, why is aine ye man shakasta chira? So why is my mirror broken? When I look at the mirror, it seems to be as broken. And there is dust settled on my face. All right. So it says that how time pass, zaman lahza lahza shavad mahosal. So time passed for me so quickly, that the years and the months, that I did not realize that I had come to become an old man.
Right.
Okay. And now that when I call the young age, it doesn't listen to me, it's gone.
Yeah.
And then he says that life or age is immortal. It's not immortal, it's mortal. So we are not Noori people, we are mortal people.
Yes.
So we are bound to die. And then he gives example of a bird who knows before his death is coming that he will die, so it becomes quiet.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it's all about that, and it's a beautiful song. So I hope that your audience likes it. If you like to play it
Yes,
now.
I would love to play it now, so that we could give it a listen to it as well. And you've explained this so beautifully. And we would conclude the interview with this.
Okay.
And thank you so much for giving us your valuable time. I personally got to learn so much about this beautiful language, and I hope we found a system to sustain and to maintain and preserve these languages, as they make our culture even more beautiful. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I was a bit afraid to come because I can't
شکسته
speak.
چرا
But of course, this is a
به
language
چهر
that I love.
قبارم نشسته چرا مرا ای دل من
दोबारा से आपने कहना सॉन्ग प्ले कर रही फिर मैं प्ले करना सर आवाज जितनी रहेगी इतनी
मैं
ही
फिर
रहने
बंद
देंगे।
कर देती हूँ ना, बंद कर दूँ?
नहीं हम यहाँ से स्टॉप कर रहे हैं इसको
ठीक है। अब मैं कर दूँ अब कंक्लूड?
मैं जब कहूँगा हाँ
ठीक है।
जब मैं कहूँगा तो
ठीक है। So we would listen to the song you've explained, and we would conclude the interview from here. We could-
Clinically proven results on
Sir, फिर से स्टार्ट हो सकता है? वो आगे चला गया है ना? अच्छा अच्छा, ओके ओके। नहीं नहीं, वो दूसरा चेंज हो गया सॉन्ग। मैं आ गया अब आगे, वो आगे चला गया था वैसे गलती से। ओके। So we would listen to the song you've mentioned, and I would like to conclude it from here. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time, and I have personally learned a lot more about this beautiful language, and I hope that we found a system to maintain and sustain not just Persian but all of these languages, which make our culture even more beautiful. So again, thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you for the opportunity. Actually, I was a little afraid because I cannot really speak the language as much as I can understand it.
But you did a
And-
wonderful job, and
Thank you
I've
very
learned a
much.
lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, lovely.